Hello everyone, I'm making this video in an attempt to direct everyone who sees it, hopefully someone who is about to engage a lifestyle in which I've chosen to lead them on a different path than the one that I've chosen. I've taken made certain decisions that put me on this path, and unknowingly, 5 years later, who knows the exact timetable, 5 to 7 years later, here I am. My name is not important, but I'm a drug addict. Started out as a heavy alcoholic, didn't really care about drugs too much. I only cared about the bottle. I view alcohol as one of the most, it's an enigma of a substance. It's the most physically addicting substance. You can dive in withdrawal easier than any other drug. But at the same time, after being exposed to a lot harder drugs, I find myself way more mentally addicted, and somehow my brain being fingerprinted in a way where I'm more drawn to those types of substances than alcohol. I find myself tonight, after not being able to score any drugs, whether it be meth, Roxy's, Oxys, anything really to alter my consciousness. I find myself just getting a cheap high off of alcohol and Valium, and it sucks ass. I'm losing my mind right now. 5 days sober, and after today, 0. But just basically sat in bed for 5 days and didn't do shit besides go to work. I'd consider myself a semi-functional drug user because I go to work every day, and I pay the bills, I pay rent, I live in a house, but I lose my mind if I'm not on drugs. I may go temporarily insane, but I'll be able to maintain myself at the workplace or any other place. I don't know how I'm able to do it. I'm just able to pretend that I'm not fucking crazy. It's very hard to do this. You have to be very well disciplined, but strangely enough, as it is, I'm disciplined enough to act like I'm not withdrawing like a motherfucker, and act like I'm not insane at the time, but I'm not disciplined enough to stop using. And so all you people who think you're disciplined and, oh, I'll never get addicted because of X, Y, and Z, just know that there's plenty of hospitals you can detox in from a physical addiction. But me, someone who had a lot of willpower, no anxiety, the most disciplined out of all my peers, once I started using and after the years had gone by, I lost a lot of it. And I'm still able to maintain a decent amount of it in order to be semi-functional, as I said before. But it takes away a part of you in which you won't understand until you start using. So I'd ask you to just not start at all, because no matter how strong you think you are, and even if you've experimented before, if you keep the train going, it won't crash, it won't stop without crashing. And once it crashes, for some reason, there's still something there that makes you want to keep the train going. You want to rebuild the whole fucking train just to keep it going and keep getting high. And it doesn't matter how far you've gotten, that mental part will stick with you. It's like, in my brain, I don't only have a fingerprint on my brain that has affected my reward pathways and how I gain pleasure in day-to-day lives. I have 9 fingerprints, and all that's left is this little pinky on my left finger. And that's the only part left on my brain. And once I get that last fingerprint, my soul is pretty much sold to drugs and alcohol. I don't really know what else to say beyond this point, but I have this drug triangle going on where I'll do opiates for a while, and then I'll do meth to get off of the opiates, and then I'll drink alcohol while I'm on meth because I find the balance very enjoyable, and I may not be able to stop myself from drinking. And then I may become dependent on alcohol regardless of whether I enjoy the effects of alcohol as much as the other drugs. And then I'll use opiates to take away the pain inside of me from the physical addiction of alcohol, because it's too rough to quit without benzos and opiates or whatever on my own. I can't stop drinking once I've got a decent 3 or 4 days going of drinking. And it never used to be that way. I could drink like a whole month straight and then stop cold turkey, but once you've molded your brain to be dependent on alcohol, that shit does not go away. And I'll tell you this right now, once you've been dependent on alcohol, where you cannot function and you will seizure if you don't have a drink, that shit does not go away for life. It is permanently fingerprinted on your brain. And you may be able to have a drink again, and if you're mentally able to stop yourself from having another, you'll be fine. But it's permanently established on your brain that if you keep drinking for 2 or 3 days after that, after a certain amount of drinks, if you haven't gone overboard, you may not be addicted yet, but after a certain amount of drinks, you're fucked. You're not going to be able to stop. I don't know what else to say in this video, but I guess a little personal thing about me, I guess I'll leave you with. If you think you're not cool enough, or you're trying to fit in with some crowd because no other crowd will accept you, don't take the drug crowd. Because without drugs, I don't get the girl. I'm a pussy, I'm a coward, I don't fight anyone, I run away. And so, now after using drugs, I hate myself. I can't live with myself. I'm suicidal without drugs, even though I'll never kill myself, just because I know that it's just a chemical in my brain telling me that. I'm smart enough to know and to transcend my unconsciousness to understand what is happening in my brain and to control it at the time being. I'm a coward. I will run from a fight, but put a little bit of meth in my system, and I will take on 3 to 4 guys. Just the other day, I almost got robbed on Halloween night, and I did not back down to a car full of fucking, I don't want to sound racist, but black people. That's just the way it is. They're all black, wearing like fucking masks, and tried to rob me. And I was tweaking on meth, and basically just stood there and was like, I don't know what you guys want, but whatever you're saying, you got the wrong guy. Whatever you're trying to do, it's not going to work. And I just stood there, did not flinch, and was ready to fight all of them because I was on meth. If I was sober, I probably would have ran to the gas station doors and started pounding on it, because I'm not exactly the bravest of people, unless I have my adrenaline rushing, whether it be albeit natural or through the use of drugs. And I guess my point is, develop your character naturally. If you can't get the girl, learn how to get it without drugs. I don't know how many times I've been high and have been charming, because it's reduced my stress levels, and I can just be myself. It scrapes away all the parts that I don't like, and I can just sit there and let myself shine. But if I can do that naturally, then what do I need drugs for? Once you get sucked into drugs, it'll delude you, it'll make you into be someone you're not. Just because you accomplish something when you're on drugs, it'll make you think that the drugs are helping you, and maybe they are, maybe they're not. But either way, you're going to get sucked in. And just from experience, I don't care how empowered you are, it will take you over like that. Eventually there will be a point where there's no turning back, and you won't even realize it until the very next day. It's not one of those things that's a progression. It just hits you, and you don't realize it until it hits you. Like with alcohol, I drank for 5 years probably, and I stopped drinking one day and I didn't feel anything. And then the very next day, I chugged a fifth, and the day after that, I could not go to work without having another sip of alcohol because I was physically addicted beyond repair. It happened in one day. It was leading up to a 5-year progression. It's like climbing up a hill, okay? You keep climbing up the hill, but you don't realize that you're about to dig yourself into your grave until you walk to the point where you fall off the edge, and it's a fucking 200 feet drop or 200-yard drop, and you don't realize all the symptoms until the second you fall off the edge, and that will happen in one day. It'll happen like that. That's all the advice really I have to give. The only reason why I'm covering my face is because I don't want to lose my job and have to work at McDonald's because of my drug addiction. I know that may sound silly, but it is what it is.